coming from you. Wow.
The buzz is very big in the desert Southwest, where it's really never gone away after some weird happenings in the skies over Phoenix recently. And here's NBC's Robert Hager.
This is one of several home videos recorded that night last March. A few say they saw the lights as far as 100 miles north of Phoenix. Many more saw them over the city or to the south.
It was the evening of March 13th, 1997. People across Arizona, especially here in the valley, reported seeing a silent, miles-long V-shaped group of lights gliding quietly overhead. Was it a military mission, a prank perhaps, or visitors from outer space? The questions and confusion over the sighting have only grown during the prevailing years.
Some, like Tim and Bobby Lee, claim they saw even more.
Something was there. It was a structure. It was going 35 miles an hour. It was huge. It didn't make a sound. And you tell me what can do that.
It was flying low. Is within half a mile of me. There's no plane path at that point, and it didn't act like a plane. A plane can't turn that fast, and it also had oddly spiral kinds of movements that you just don't see with a plane.
And so it was
and
last
there was no
night.
noise. Again, no noise. Yeah,
No
exactly.
noise. Rich, you were out on the story last night, didn't know what to expect, and take it from there. I mean, what happened?
Off the top, I've been skeptical of this story. As a resident of New Jersey, as a journalist here, I thought it was going to be some sort of yahoos, and we would get a laugh out of this in several weeks. What happened yesterday completely changed my entire view on this story. Earlier in the afternoon, I was out with the Ocean City Sheriff's Department. They have a drone unit. They've investigated these things. What they've saw a bunch over the weekend. We did not see any with them last night. I was coming back home. I got a tip. Monmouth County, they're spotting them in Monmouth County. That's where I live. So I raced up here, and I tried to figure out where the picture was that somebody sent me. And sure enough, I saw one. So I trailed it to a neighborhood, a dead-end street, and I got out of my car, and I took my phone out with my iPhone, and I couldn't really capture it, but I was staring literally at this drone 200 feet above me, maybe. I called our photographer, Nick, and I said, get up here as soon as you possibly can. Meet me at this location, etc. I tracked a few more to the location where we are right now, over a body of water behind us. And I gotta say, Brian, over the next 2 hours, we saw dozens and dozens of these things, and they look like nothing you've ever seen before. I'm not even sure I'm right in calling them a drone. They looked like they were fixed wing aircraft. They had multiple, blinking lights. They did not look anything like a plane, because there's plenty of planes flying overhead. Like tonight, they're not here. We're seeing just planes. Last night was totally different. They look creepy, and they move at a different pace. We tried to even follow a couple. They went off in the distance and disappeared. It's completely rewired my brain on this topic, and I am a believer, and we need answers. And we don't have answers, and we need someone to step up and say, here is what's going on. Because otherwise, we're heading down this path in New Jersey and these states where people are just going to take this into their own hands.
Yeah, and I'm looking at your video right now. We have it in the middle of the screen. I know it's tough at night when you're using your iPhone and it's pitch black. You said you were near the water, but so it's kind of hard to see. But we've heard these reports from people, but hearing it from you, Rich, as our investigative reporter, knowing the kind of work you do, it is kind of freaky to hear you say that that you couldn't identify it. Describe it a little more. I mean, how big? And when I think of a drone, you think of it's got the four. It's almost like a little helicopter with the four rotors. Are these not? Do these look different than that?
They look different. They almost look like a U-shaped or a V-shaped. They didn't make a sound.
People across Arizona and in some other states report seeing a silent, miles-long V-shaped group of lights gliding quietly overhead.
People up in northern Arizona saw lights that were distinctly red.
Major sighting here.
Valley resident Dr. Lynn Kitai saw the lights that evening and has been exploring the phenomenon for decades. She says rather than interest in the Phoenix Lights event fading over time, it has actually evolved.
Because the mass sighting, whatever you heard, wasn't just 1 or 2 hours, it was many hours, over a dozen hours in over 4 states.
Thousand witnesses who have come forward with regard what they saw over the state of Arizona on Thursday night, the 13th of March, 1997. It is still an untold story.
Coming from